Okay, great. Super excited to be back with you talking about the other big utility, energy, and what it entails. So, when we're discussing this, we've talked about it in the past that gas pricing continues to be low. Over the past couple of months, we've been talking about this. Customers continue to need to save money. And, the ease of entry with no install, customer service required, the service coming from the same source. There's literally never been a better time to sell energy ever in the history of the business. So, like electricity and natural gas, and you're familiar with those, so excited because there's a ton of other information behind that. Essentially, it opens doors to a whole new world of energy, and we call that efficiency. So what I like about efficiency is the fact that it is not actually regulated by the state. As you probably know with procurement, it's basically the state has to be regulated for you to sell the service. Not the case with efficiency. So it kind of opens the geographic limitations in the industry. So we can move to the next slide. The chat function, and we'll answer those at the end. I will say there's one caveat. If you have a specific question relevant to the topic that we just discussed, we'll give you a quick minute to talk about those items. So today, super excited to have joining us Terrence McManus from Building IQ, Ed Ripa from EnergyWare, Jason Loé from Clean.Tech, and our own Patrick Mason, who's the Director of Energy Services for AppSmart. For those of you that are not aware, I'm now the GM of Energy Services for AppSmart. Could not be more excited to be on this energy journey. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, and as we talk more about what we're going to do today, so the agenda you can see here on the screen. I'll do an overview of energy services, kind of like a refresher for some that were not on the previous calls. And then we'll talk about the path from electricity and natural gas, defined as procurement, to efficiency and technology. Terrence will then get into talking about smart and healthy buildings and the control options within them. What a relevant topic right now in light of COVID-19, the pandemic. Ed Ripa will be speaking about LED lighting, which is the hottest selling product in the telecom channel in the energy business. And then finally, Jason will speak about solar power through AI. You got to see this app. If you have not seen it, it is incredible. Please make sure and don't miss that towards the end of the call. So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so this one's exciting because we have a new map. You probably don't recognize this map. It's new. It's, of the 48 continental states, the exciting thing is that we can sell gas in 43 states. Now, the difference is you see in gray here, the ones that are in blue, you can pretty much sell any customer in Colorado, Indiana, Georgia, and Florida. In the other states that are gray, we do need a bigger bill. We need a bigger spend in order to really go into those markets. So what I'm going to say on this is that we need a minimum of $1,000 of generation, but that does not include transmission. So the bill could be $2,000, could be $1,000 in transmission and $1,000 in generation. That would qualify again, but no less than that makes any sense. We're really looking for $5,000 in spend in generation. If you get a customer that's spending $5,000 in generation, there's a very good chance we can help them out. So I wanted to mention that difference that we've kind of drilled in on the program. And you can see that with the visual aid here on the map. You can also see the color coding in the rest of the country there. So pretty much really the Northwest is the only territory and off-continental, Alaska and Hawaii, that are not, and then of course Vermont's the one anomaly in the Northeast, that there's no deregulation. Again, the impetus for this call today, because in those states, you can still sell efficiency services. Kind of moving back a little bit to the review here and talking about it, with the pricing so low, it's just still truly a golden opportunity. Electricity is a little bit tougher in 15 states, all in the Midwest and Northeast, with the exception of California and Texas. But again, we're talking 10 to 30% savings on the bill for customers. Here's a really important point I want to make too. We've done some research, and over the past 30 years, when pricing has dropped this much, it has always gone back up within a year. So even though a customer may only save 10% today on the lower end, they could be saving 20 or 30% next year once that pricing goes up. And so keep that in mind. You're going to be doing your customers a big favor by signing them up for energy and doing it as soon as possible. The other thing I'll say is that a lot of people say, well, I'm not worried about natural gas, winter's over, blah, blah, blah. So the rates are so low right now. So now is the time to lock in. Don't wait. And to make it easy for them, in energy, you can actually sign up a customer today for a future start date. Let's say the customer's contract ends September 30. You can sign them up today for a October 1st start date. So forget about tickler files. Those are a thing of the past in energy. You can literally go ahead and sign up customers, let's just say within a year and a half or 2 years. If their contract goes more than 2 years, that's really too long for us to be able to do that. But if it's within a year, it's really a no-brainer for us. I think a year and a half is kind of in the middle. Anyway, so double-digit residuals on double-digit savings for customers, which are going to grow over time. Energy prices, again, are at historic lows. And so it's just a truly golden opportunity. And customers need to save that money. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is exciting. Again, it's a billing change. There's no install or provisioning needed at all. So that has been making it really easy in the last few months. And then finally, it comes from the same source. So these services are coming from the same source as the grid, and the utility still does the customer service, so you don't have to do that. So it's really that easy. I mean, a lot of people think it's complex. Sure, the efficiency can get a little bit complex, as we'll talk about today, but procurement is not. So keep that in mind, and let's go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, so in looking at what we call the revised selling guide, I want to give you some of the things that we've updated here. Previously, it had said simple installation and billing, but it's actually no installation. I just want to remind of that. So there's been some slight edits. You notice the map has been updated on this slide as well. So this piece of collateral is more for your internal teams. So keep that in mind. Ultimately, you can see it's got the selling guide on the top of it. It's got our contact information on the bottom. What we're trying to say here for you is that this is not really a customer-facing piece. It talks about the customer persona, qualifying questions, and things that are really more for sellers than it would be for a customer-facing piece. So just keep that in mind, and we'll move on to the next slide. This piece, fortunately, actually is brandable by you. So you can put your logo in that upper right-hand corner. You can put your contact information down on the bottom bar there in gray. And that way, you can brand this. So ultimately, I mean, even if you've got a business plan for energy, it doesn't have to be something really huge and detailed. But if you have a business plan in energy and you send it to us, we'll even consider private labeling for you, which means just putting your logo only on the piece. So just keep that in mind as well. On this one, I just want to quickly mention, one of the things that's exciting, this is for a customer, right? You can send it out to them. But one of the things that's exciting about this program is that we have a referral program. For those of you that are too busy to get out there and start drumming up new business, if you give us email addresses of your clients, we can literally reach out to them, close the deal for you, and pay you half the commission. So keep that in mind. Again, what's the saying? A commission on, a smaller amount, it's better than a higher commission on nothing, right? So ultimately, this is a good opportunity for everyone to get that flywheel growth that we're all looking for in the space. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. So this one actually is the topic of discussion today. So this is the efficiency piece of collateral. We're calling it a flyer, actually. And you can see it's revised. I think everyone will appreciate this. I was thinking, well, wait a minute, even an agent, I think, asked on the last call, hey, how do you know which ones are residual, which ones are up front, things like that. Well, you can see on the screen that the left-hand side actually now lists the recurring services, and the right side has the equipment or more one-time services and products. So again, you see there electricity, natural gas is a big one. Building controls in the cloud, we'll talk about it today. HVAC controls, And energy expense management is another. Just like, telecom expense management, we can also do energy expense management as well. And then on your right side there with equipment and non-recurring, you've got LED lighting, of course, we'll get into today as well. Water efficiency, we won't talk about on this webinar. I want to just quickly say that we have two solutions in water. The first one is the ability to detect leaks in buildings. That's a very, very hot service. In fact, we've got some big deals right now brewing and they're about to close. I mean, it's a relevant time, right? People need to make sure and save money, and it's a contingency-based service. So it's basically when they find stuff and they fix it, they're going to pay for it out of that. Ultimately, it's a great product. Also, we have water valves. This property right behind me, I was spending way too much on water. Now I'm saving like 35% on my bill every month because of a valve that I put in. So that's another solution we can look at. Electric vehicle charging, and then solar and cogeneration. Of course, we'll talk about solar again today as well. What I like to call the trifecta of energy is, putting solar on the roof, putting the lighting in on the ceiling, and then putting the EV charging station into the carport. So if you've got customers with large facilities with parking, et cetera, great solutions for those guys. So again, just reminding, the efficiency does not have a geographical limitation. So you can sell a lot of these services in any state, which is great. So I want to quickly just pause and see if Patrick wanted to add anything to the conversation. Patrick, anything to add?
I think great stuff. You covered on a lot of the relevant detail that we need to get these opportunities started. Again, I want to reinforce, get the bills. Even in states that are listed on the map as deregulated and wide open, there are anomalies. A perfect example is an opportunity came in from San Antonio in Texas, which is very mature and fully deregulated, but you can't sell electricity in San Antonio. So really important to get the full copy of the bill, every page, clear scan, and we can discuss what's possible within it. A great question that just popped up is electricity from the utilities. This came in on the chat function is pretty low right now. And that's true. While utilities are offering decent rates, there's still an opportunity to save on what they're paying currently. But the idea here is to fix their price now at the low rate so that when the utility starts increasing their price on a variable plan, you're going to stay at that fixed rate for the term. So don't look at it as savings today, while that's possible to do, looking at as savings over the term. And that's an important distinction. The state regulations that you mentioned, I think I'll let Terrence kind of talk to this a little bit if he can. A lot of cities and municipalities are starting to mandate large commercial users of energy to benchmark their use and understand how they're using it, and then prove how they're going to become efficient over time in using energy. And if they don't meet those criteria, I think there'll be some implications, whether either through taxes or other penalties that'll be levied. So it's important to get on top of the efficiency aspect of it. And that leads to Terrence and Ed's and the Clean.Tech solution on this program today. So really excited about this. Energy, natural gas and electricity is the low-hanging fruit to get into the opportunity and prove the value. And then we can pivot to just about everything else within the building. So you guys can own your energy customer for every opportunity.
Thank you so much, Patrick. It's a good point. And again, as Patrick alludes to, procurement is probably the easiest and most transactional thing to sell. But again, it opens the door to so many other things. I can't tell you how many deals we've closed. We started off talking about electricity and natural gas. We ended up selling something else to them. So again, just remember that. And Patrick makes a very good point. Just get the bills. That's the starting of the conversation. So think about it this way. Add the question or change the question to, instead of, can I get a copy of your telecom or cloud bill? Change it to, hey, I'm becoming a utilities advisor today, not just telecom and cloud. So could you go ahead and include, your gas, electric, water, and waste bills? We'd love to take a look at them and see if we can help you. So again, and we'll get into why that will help also in efficiency in just a few minutes here. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so here we're going to take a poll. And what we'd like to do, again, we know a lot of you already know, that you've sold procurement in the past, electricity and natural gas. How many of you actually sold efficiency? Cloud controls, HVAC, LED, solar. If you could please go ahead. and vote. We'll give you some, let you know how that went later on. Okay, should be enough time for everyone, hopefully. Great. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now we're going to move into that energy efficiency conversation that we've been talking about. First up is Terrence from Building IQ. And what I really like about these guys is that as a SaaS cloud company in the energy business, they're not so different than some of the folks that we know in traditional cloud that you all work with, right? So for those of you that don't like to jump in to new spaces or the other big utility as we're talking about here, you might want to start here. So Terrence, please tell us more.
Great. Thanks a lot. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Terrence McManus. I'm the VP over at Building IQ. My background, I have about 30 years in the industry. Primarily, I started out at Honeywell, spent 14 years there in the research division where I started this path to energy analytics and modeling back in the late 80s. And by the time the internet hit full on, we were already starting to drive things to the internet and the web way back then. After 15 years, I started my own business and eventually sold my business to Building IQ. So my whole career has been in this area of analytics and modeling and data science, and it's been a great career. Next slide. Building IQ, you may not have heard them before. What I would highly recommend is that you go to the website, and there's a ton of good information there. They do a great job of presenting webinars and case studies and success stories and white papers. And Building IQ's roots started coming out of the Australian National Laboratories and out of the Department of Energy, which both funded them with R&D money in order to get some of these early technologies built. So this idea of analytics and machine learning and AI, even though they're the buzz and the hype right now, these technologies have been being built in the background for quite a few years, and they're actually ready to go and start to use right now. And as people start to adopt them, they become more powerful, more ways to apply analytics and machine learning and AI. So Building IQ is a data science company. We're full of data engineers and scientists who convert all this stuff over into information for clients. Next slide. When I talk about Building IQ, we're really talking about commercial buildings and how they operate. And when you think of the millions of buildings that are out in the marketplace, they're all unique. Just like people are unique, these buildings are completely unique and they need different solutions. And on day one, a building can't actually go right to the top and start doing kind of this machine learning and AI. They have to be prepared from the bottom up so that all the systems in the building can actually start to be interconnected and networked together. In this age of COVID that we're all tragically going through, buildings are in a real crisis situation where there's no people in the building. The buildings degrade if the facility guys aren't there and working these systems and working to keep the building properly temperature controlled, humidity controlled, making sure all of the equipment works. So what we're doing right now, everything kind of came to a grinding halt for us in April. And then we started working with our client base to actually bring them back and help them remotely access their buildings and use data in order to understand how that building was running. And I'll talk a little bit more about our reopening strategies for commercial buildings and how we're doing it. What you're looking at on this slide is the complete product offering of Building IQ. So at the very top is this concept of predictive control. This is the holy grail of technology. It's what we've all been working toward in the buildings industry from a data science and an engineering standpoint, is that we want to basically leverage AI and machine learning algorithms in order to do a complete closed loop control of a building. That means there's no man in the middle. And this is the future. 20 years from now, there will be quite a few less facility managers and engineers because these buildings will be controlled remotely. People are going to get in, and with the right amount of sensors and control devices, we're going to be able to go in and have data analyze the building and make recommendations. So, for example, sensors and different elements that are in a building right now, we tie into that, plus we tie into the control systems, plus we tie into the energy supply, the utilities, the weather data. All this is just bits of AI information that comes in. So if I actually see a storm front or a major temperature shift coming in toward the buildings an hour from now, the machine algorithms can actually see that, and they can start to take action and pre-cool or preheat a building in order to prepare for the changes in the external environment. So these AI and machine learning tools are growing exponentially every year. We have over 1,200 buildings now that are using this level of control, and it's just a matter of education and awareness. All this technology works really well. Some buildings which do not have a control system, let's say they're a non-BMS building, they still need other tools. So we offer fault detection and metering and other types of services to a building. All these are driven through contractors and engineers, and there's a whole team of people that usually get involved in supporting these type of solutions that are in the marketplace. What Building IQ is unique is that we have all this AI and data science. And if you notice on the bottom, we have a 24/7 operations center. So we actually have engineers and data scientists available to talk to our clients. And we actually help identify some of the issues and opportunity. We can tell when equipment is failing. We can tell when the control system is out of schedule, when it shouldn't be. So leveraging all this AI and data is really the future of how buildings are going to have to be operated. And eventually we'll get up to the point where we can do this complete closed loop predictive control automatically through machine learning. So it's a very exciting time. It's a fast growing industry. And I would just encourage you guys to, if you want more information, go to buildingiq.com. You can get a really good education there of all the technology. Again, this has been 20, 30 years in the making, and you'll see case studies and how it's applied. Next slide. So I mentioned the fact that I'm going to talk a little bit today about COVID and how we're responding to it. I've got one of my large clients is called Astellas. They're a 5 million square foot pharmaceutical company in the Chicago area. When they shut down, it was really difficult because not only did the people not want to come in the building, but they were doing a lot of basic science and research around this stuff. Their laboratories. So they were trying to make themselves available to the market to come back with solutions for the COVID issue. So they had to pressurize parts of the building, and people weren't there, and facility managers weren't showing up. They depended on Building IQ to get in and actually operate that building remotely. And luckily, we had all of our technology deployed. We could see the building, we could operate it, and by remote control, we could go in, we could start up buildings, we could watch humidity levels, and we could watch outdoor air systems. We could purge the building on every few hours and a deep purge at night, so that we were getting air exchanges in that building. Because again, at that stage in April, we didn't know all the ramifications of COVID and what it could have as a detrimental effect on people. And so we were doing everything we could. And now the buildings are starting to come back online. The Astellas building is still closed, but is starting to open up right after the 4th of July. So we've been doing extra purges, watching the data on behalf of the client and giving them information that is valuable. Next slide. So we have got a few different things that we're looking at. One is we're making sure that we understand the air quality that's in that facility. So indoor air quality sensors that have been deployed in the past are now being looked at and watched, and even watched more careful than they have in the past. We're also very concerned about humidity, because that's where COVID lives. It needs these humid environments to continue thriving for days and days. It can literally sit in a facility for 3 or 4 days before it will diminish. But we have to be very careful about humidity control. Next slide. We look at their maintenance schedules and filtering and all these different things, because again, the staff isn't there. So we're basically trying to do things remote. We're figuring ways to actually get people in and out of the building quickly when no one else is there. We're maintaining social distancing, but we still have to keep the wheels on the wagon. These buildings that have been sitting empty, they start to really get sick. If you remember that term Legionnaire's disease, it was out. That was where water supplies sat for too long in a convention center. So we have to make sure that the systems are running, but we don't want to waste energy and we want to keep the wheels on the wagon. So we work around the maintenance and service and work with the maintenance staff to prioritize what things they can do to get in and work the building. Next. What we're trying to do is basically look at this thing from a few different levels. We want to go in and first just assess how that building systems, have a health check on that building, where we look at the current systems and functions and we try to modify anything just to get the proper amount of maintenance and airflow and other things that are happening in the building. Next. We start to focus on fresh air, getting that air movement through the building and making sure that's properly filtered. We look at all the building standards. It's called ASHRAE standards. We do nightly flushes of air. We do pre-occupancy air flushes, things like this, which make sure that the air is moving through the building effectively and that we're ventilating things properly. Next. We are basically putting in, if we haven't, this idea of indoor air quality sensors. We have to find a strategy to do that. They have to be mounted in the proper places, but basically they help us understand where we should start to do demand control ventilation and put pressurization in the buildings in order to evacuate the buildings. It requires sensors in the space. So the idea when people talk about IoT, it's really just a network of sensors that are all coming back to a common place. And out of that data, we can make decisions. And this is, in reality, this should have been done 20 years ago, but it's a cost benefit trade-off. Now, all these air quality sensors, all the different sensors we need to take advantage of the Internet of Things, the cost is in line, there's paybacks, there's no reason not to do these things. And it's really a matter of education and training. And as we deploy these things, the more sensors you have out there, the more information you get back, and the more you can make good decisions. Next. We're looking at filtering as a very important aspect of this. We're using, again, differential pressure and other thresholds in order to understand the filtering options in the building and how to make sure that those are done right. We replace the existing systems and we time when that goes in and out. Next. HVAC optimization is really at the core of what we've been doing for a long time. So not only do we look at all the HVAC systems, we talk to the control systems directly, we see all the stuff that's happening down at the zone, at the equipment level. And if you think about buildings when they were started, they were empty. And then occupants started to come into a building and eventually that building got full. Well, now all the occupants are gone. It requires a completely different set of set points and ways to actually run that building when there's no one there. And we have to do that. And so luckily we're able to come in because we can remote access into these buildings and we can basically optimize the facility for where it's at today. In the case of Astellas, when they come back in July, we're going to have to go back to a schedule now that's more occupied. And we're going to have to start to stage zones and areas of the building as people start to come back into those labs and those zones where they're going to start working again. So we're very cognizant about optimizing the HVAC and not wasting energy. Next. And finally, we're driving toward more IoT devices. All the specifications, all the market seems to be moving toward if we can put occupancy in there and understand how many people are in there, if we can understand the indoor air quality, water sensing, temperature sensing, all these different aspects. IoT-driven strategies are the future. They're happening fast, they're priced right. And I would imagine that if you have a relationship with a commercial building owner, whether it's a small business all the way up to a large commercial building, there are strategies and sensors out there right now that we can deploy that'll provide information that'll be valuable to running that building effectively. And so our whole idea of Building IQ is to take data, crunch the numbers, and then help present what things can be done to drive efficiency, to drive energy savings, to drive comfort for buildings, and to keep people safe in the buildings that we're occupying. So that's it for me. Thank you. Again, I'd recommend going to buildingiq.com, reading up, and get a hold of the guys if you want to dive deeper or if you have a customer that's interested. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Terrence. Appreciate that. So just before we move on, just a quick question that I'm seeing here out in the that was just asked. How does your solution differ or interact with a building management system?
Well, all the building management systems ride on a network, right? There's air handling units, and there's VAV boxes, and there's all these different things that, octopus out from the control system. That rides on a network called BACnet or Modbus, or in the case of wireless, Zigbee. All these different protocols of communication platform are tying back into a building automation in some cases. We actually ride on the networks. So we're not inside the building automation system. We're connected to it through the network. We're connected to the air handling units, to the VAV boxes, to the sensors, to the outdoor weather stations. So we're riding on the network of data. And so we're basically seeing everything that's happening on the network. And then we take that information, we parse it up to the cloud, and now we've got banks of servers, and they run these algorithms. They're looking for data that's connected in a large scale. And so we're taking literally in any hour, we can take millions of points of data that's flowing on the network and compare them all and determine how they fit together and how they affect each other in the system. And the algorithms can do that. No human being can do that. That's why AI is going to take over how buildings are run, because there's so much information to run a building. Facility guys just don't have the bandwidth, and they have to solve problems out with customers. They can't be sitting in front of a computer all day running these diagnostics. But AI can do it in a heartbeat and come back and say, here's your root cause problem. You have a failed static pressure sensor out in a zone, or a piece of equipment is turned off when it should be on. So we ride on the network of data to get our information, and then we send commands to the different things that it makes sense. So we're almost supervisory above all the systems that are in a building.
So overlaying, got it. So just a quick question, a follow-up to that. I know you guys used to have a policy where ROI was, if it was a 100,000 square foot building, you get ROI within a year or two.
Oh yeah, we generate positive cash flow right away.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good. Again, we'll get to any other questions for Terrence at the end of the call. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Thank you, Terrence.
You bet.
Okay, so moving on. So now we're going to go to the next presentation. So next up, again, as I mentioned, is one of the hottest companies in the telecom channel for energy. I think they are the hottest. With ownership coming from telecom, these guys really know what's important to us, and they're channel friendly. Ed, you're on to tell us all about LED.
Thank you, Vince. Go ahead, next slide.
Go to the next one, yeah.
And the next one. So to piggyback off what Vince said, rather than talking about what our company is, we're going to take care of your customer. This sale is about lighting. And lighting, I hate to say, is everybody's thinking about it. If they haven't done it, it's the easiest thing to address in the energy market as far as savings go. And the net is you can make money without having to know a lot about it. And it's not hard to sell. Both Mike, who's the CEO, and myself, Ed, are from telecom. So I did 15 years and hosted VoIP and telecommunications, and channel and direct sales, managed teams for Vonage, iCore, you name it. And the net is in about 30 days, I was able to sell this product myself with no knowledge whatsoever about LED lighting. So it's not hard to pick up. The same prospects you're talking to are easy to convert because everybody's going to do it. Everybody knows what it is. They know why they want to do it. And it's really just about catching them when they're going to have the budget to do it or convincing them to finance. That's as simple as a sale gets. Next slide, please. So some of the target marketplace questions I get asked a lot are listed here above. I can tell you right now in the COVID-19 era, schools, municipalities are very hot. They have the budgets, and because they're not occupied, they're very easy to get in and install. Warehouses that are being not used as much are really easy to get in and actually do. Property management firms are on the up and up as far as getting their buildings retrofitted. I will say I have huge contacts in the assisted living space, nursing care, and hospitals. I will tell you they are not hot right now. Because of COVID, they are very stringent on who goes in and out of them, and just the amount of capacity and time they have to deal with this kind of stuff. Although usually hot, those are not on the list anymore. But property management, retail workshops, those are all empty buildings right now, very easy to sell. Next slide, please. This just gives you an idea of where the hot markets are sitting right now. This is where my installations and teams are out doing actual installs across the country. As you can see, they're usually in the high kilowatt rate markets. That's where you're going to get the best ROIs. And it's usually in facilities that are on 12 hours plus a day. That's where you get the actual good cost savings out of. But as far as where we can go, anywhere in the United States, we hold our general contractors licenses, we have our electricians, and we take it from start of the sale all the way through finish, and we even do our own warranties. So you can rest assured we'll take care of the customer in getting this conversion done. Next slide, please. This just gives you a couple of our customer references. You can see Ventas is a publicly traded nursing home facility, like Fortune 53. The Duke University is actually one we're finishing up right now. Just to give you an idea, this was a cold call, unfortunately done by a different agency, but it ended up being almost a $3 million deal for 17 buildings. And that turned around in about 4 months. The other ones are school districts, airports, warehouses, supply companies, you name it. Any facet of this industry we can tackle, but they all have pretty much the same need. They have a light today that's incandescent or fluorescent. They want to transition it and save money on it and get better light quality. If you could, next slide. Safety in this particular era is very important, and also tackle the larger customers. ISN and Avetta are two things that we've been required to go out and get by a lot of our large institutions and our large clients. It means that a third-party safety company has validated our procedures and how we deal with things. For schools, the full scope background check is very important. That is FBI nationwide every 6 months on our employees. When you're selling to school, it's something you have to have. And as far as COVID-19, we put out our own statements and procedures for doing it. We're doing all active work right now. We've got touchless thermometers, PPE gear, quarantine zones. We rent out private houses for our crews so they stay all together at one point in time. So we're still open for business. Business has still been great. We just had to switch from our general line of business, like I said, hospitals and everything else, over to municipality, school districts, warehousing as being the primary targets right now. Go ahead, next slide. This is really the why of LED. If you look at everything in a building, realistically, most of the spend comes from heating and cooling and lighting. That's where all the energy is being spent for the electricity side of the bill. Up to 40, almost 50% of your bill can be purely lighting. So you're talking about a bill of $10,000, $5,000 of it's going to be lighting. And of that, if you switch to LED, you're going to get about 70% of the savings against that. So you're going to end up with less than a $2,000 bill. These projects can end up paying for themselves. Also, they last over 100,000 hours. If you do math on a 24-hour-day facility, that's over 15 years these lights actually last once you put them up. They're, of course, EPA friendly. They help the green initiatives. There's a lot of people who are doing construction green loans that need to do this. That's where our property management firms come in. The aesthetics are better. From a health perspective, it's proven against ADHD, sleep studies, things like that for schools. But the net of it is it saves people money, pays for itself, and does a whole bunch of other things that are good for the environment and with zero maintenance. Be good. Next slide, please. On the IoT side, there is an entire phase to IoT lighting in LED. They do work with building management systems that I heard people ask about earlier. But I will say right now, I'm still finding it in somewhat of a niche, although it does relate more to the IT and cloud space everybody's used to. I find hospitals are buying them, larger organizations that have the CapEx to spend for something that's a little more costly than the typical just conversion. These things still can sometimes pay for themselves. They have to be in a high kilowatt market, They have to be using the lights, again, 12, 24 hours a day, and they have to see the value of the full management. There has to be a value associated with that dollar. If the customer is looking for pure savings, it's not going to be the target you're going to want to go after. You're going to want to pitch them on strict LED. You could. Next slide. The other nice thing about LED, it's easy to see once you're done. There's a before, there's an after. The before is always dark, the after is always light. The color temperatures are good, they're clean, it looks good. So for aesthetics and improving a community, especially in school systems and everything else, this is an easy thing to look at and sell because the results are there. You can see the difference. You could. Next slide. From case studies, this one's of a school because they're hot right now. I've got a bunch of different case studies online in our agent's portal. I think AppSmart also has access to these. But they are all the different facets that we've done business in, and we'll give you an idea of why clients have chosen us, and it's something you can pass along to the customer. So we have a full portal available to you to go out and find all of our documentation. If you could, next slide. This is where the kind of rubber meets the road. So if you look at a school that we just sold about 2 months ago, I broke it down by high school, middle school, elementary, and preschool. The finance payment was done on a 7-year loan. I'm getting terms right now as low as 1.5 points for a loan for not tax exempt, which is really good. And they do, I think, between 5 and 10 years, depending on the size. So if you're looking at this kind of breakdown, $9,802 is what they were spending on purely lighting at these schools. Their finance payment was $5,527. It's an easy difference of $4,500 they're going to be saving every month for 7 years. And then after the 7-year period, the lights are going to last at least another 10, actually probably 20 in this case because of their hours of operation. You're going to save almost $1 million over the life of these lights. Very easy to do project, no money out of pocket, savings day one. I don't know how else to say it, but this is probably one of the easiest products you can sell in that aspect. It's kind of like back when you were selling PBXs with landlines, and then you started going to hosted VoIP and seat licenses. The cost difference was over 50%. It was the easiest thing. Show me a telco bill, I'll replace your PBX and put this one in with VoIP. It's going to save you a ton of money. So I would say that is about how easy this sell should be. You good? Next slide. That's all I got. Make it real
Awesome,
simple.
Ed. You just got me fired up on LED again. Thank you.
No
Okay,
problem.
so, Patrick, any questions out of Ed's presentation you wanted to maybe chime in on?
Yeah, a question that come through that's relevant. So what size opportunity are you looking to start at? Is there a
Sure.
bill dollar amount? And who are we speaking to? Who's the internal advocate that you want?
Sure. So from a lineage people, I mean, you want the owner of the building, period. The guy who controls the building, the guy who can make the decision. And it usually ends up being the owner, the president, the CEO, the COO, the CFO, and the mid-sized clients and lower. Once you get to the larger tier, they're going to have what's called an energy management team. They're going to have a head of facilities, and they're going to have somebody who does property asset management. Those particular people in the larger corporations are going to be your go-to and your signers. And you're looking at school districts, municipalities, you're looking for superintendents, mayors. It could be whatever that decision maker is. But at the end of the day, you're going to end up at a board level, but you typically want to start at municipality, school superintendent level, or somebody from the procurement managerial staff for the actual county. As far as size of operation, usually if the bill's over $3,000 on the electricity side, it could be a qualified one. But really the qualification is, are the lights on 12 hours a day? And do they probably have over 100 fixtures? That's kind of the basis. Like a gas station would be too small. 10 gas stations would be great. Is the best way to describe it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ed. Okay, last but certainly not least, let's talk about solar and AI. So, we all know solar used to be focused more on residential. But I heard recently that commercial solar sales have really been taking off. Look forward to hearing more about some awesome AI. Jason, are you ready to bring it?
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, thanks for letting me bat clean up on this. Hopefully in the next 10 minutes, I want to show you what the power in the solar industry is. We're putting the power into your hands with our AI platform. We've been in development for 3 years in stealth mode. You guys are going to be able to download it today, and literally within 10 minutes are going to be able to do an unbelievable proposal all the way through finance and quotes. And I'm going to show you the next slide. When they introduce you to the partnership with AppSmart and Clean.Tech, someone can be putting the link then that you guys can download direct. If you have an iOS, an iPad, iPhone, you're going to be able to do designs. You're going to be able to use our hologram. All of this technology that no one has seen yet, you guys are going to be able to have on your phone in 10 minutes. Next slide. Guys, and then going through, we no longer have a bottleneck because of the fossil fuel companies. We are solving that through technology. I think Terrence was nailing it over and over, talking about the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning. You guys have on your phone. It is not a problem. Everything is going to be solved on sales and fulfillment. I know a lot of you guys have the telecom backgrounds and saw the giant leap. We're doing the same thing on energy. Next slide.
Hey, Jason, real quick, you might want to go off video because we had a hard time hearing you twice. Just so I would say turn off your video and it'll probably be fine.
Yeah, no problem. I'm going to be moving over to demo here in a second too, guys. I'm going to go through these quick. All right, so this is what we're going to be showing you the solution. Let's go to the next slide. Really want to spend the time taking you guys into the demo, showing you exactly how to do this. Guys, we're at a 2% penetration right now in the solar market. It is going to be absolutely explosive the next decade. You guys are going to position to take our industry to the next level. We're going to triple by 2025. Next slide. And guys, this is what I'm going to show you. This is the demo. I'm going to move right to demo after this. Next slide. And we're also have a ton of support in the background, guys. I know a lot of you have not been solar, but we're going to be coaching through in the back end, so that we will coach you through. We'll support you through the entire sales cycle, doing that platform. Next slide. And this is what's exciting. I know Vince wanted me to make sure we're working on. I'm going to be showing you the residential instance of the platform that is live today. You can close projects, make big commissions. Our team is working diligently on our commercial and industrial instance of the Clean.Tech platform. This is a little bit of a sneak preview of what we're building, guys. We are going to absolutely revolutionize the energy industry with this platform. This team is an all-star team that's come together. I've been in solar for 15 years myself. I've sold my company to Clean.Tech, and we're extremely focused on driving down the costs in the solar industry to make it the most important part of the energy mix worldwide. Next slide. Patrick Mason, been working really close with him as well. You guys can absolutely put commercial and industrial projects into our platform today. We will be able to build you guys designs in there. But what I want to do today is take you right into the platform. I'm going to share my screen, guys, and move over to my demo. If you guys can make me a co-host on here, and we'll be able to now go in, and I'm going to take you right into the demo. So, all right, so here is the platform. You guys are going to be able to log in. So I have the links that you will be able to register. You're getting a full dashboard view of every single one of your projects. Now, you do the design work within your iOS device. So if you have an iPhone or borrow one, Brochure is worth it. You'll see here in a second. But you guys are going to manage your projects. All of the proposals are built into the platform then, so you can log in and see all the information. Our AI takes care of all this. That's what I'll jump into next. But you guys have a complete view of everything that's being done in iOS. All right, so let's go ahead.
Jason, Jason, if you could slow down a little bit, because it's still a little bit choppy. So I think if you slow down, that will help.
Yeah, turn off my video. Let's see here. Okay. Let's go ahead. I'm going to move into my iPad now. Hang on one second. Let's go ahead and switch over. And you guys have a full view then of iPad. Can you see me okay now? All right, guys. So let me take you through the platform right now. So basically go in and download in the Apple Marketplace. And so the Clean.Tech app, make make it really simple to go in, guys, and you're able to enter in an address. Our AI, we call our AI Ellie. Ellie's going to do the design work. No longer in the solar industry do you have to go out and get expensive CAD software or learn some of the really complex architecture software to design. Now you're able to do it all exclusively within the platform. So that's what I'm going to show you. You go in, our AI covers about 90% of the nation right now. So you can see when you enter in an address, I'm in my demo account. When you enter in the address, you're able to go in and look at all of the rooftops. You see the opaque images. You're going to tell Ellie which rooftop you want to design. And within 2 to 3 minutes, Ellie's put together a full design on that property, a generation 1 design. You're going to take control. That's what I'm about to show you in a minute here. But you can see in there, everything's AppSmart branded. You're able to go in now. And also we have every single utility in the nation baked into the platform. So you can see we're in PG&E. We've got every residential rate tariff in there. Ellie's actually predicting based on that size of that roof, what the energy consumption looks like. But you guys can go in and take control on that. So you can make changes annually. You can make changes by the month. All that information's baked in. Now, this is where the magic happens, guys. I'm going to show you, if you look over there on the right-hand side, it says 3D. Guys, let me stand up in my office right now. Hopefully this works well, but I want to show you, all you have to do is find a flat surface on the floor. You could be in a Starbucks, you could be at the kitchen table, you could be at the board office room, and I'm going to hit place home on surface. Guys, look what happens. We put together a 360-degree augmented reality hologram view of the entire neighborhood right on the floor, right there. So you guys can now take control. Check this out. So you can see, you can scroll in, scroll out, but you can be sitting there with the homeowner, the business owner, and be able to design the property. You can look at the sun. I'm actually moving that sun around on there. Now I can scroll in. You can see Ellie's already put together. Ellie's learning every single day and getting smarter and smarter. And it's learning how to design on every rooftop across the nation. But now you're able to log in, scroll in, and take control. So let's say you're meeting with the homeowner. They said, you know what, I'd like to be closer to 90%. You're able to now take off modules right there. All you have to do is press on the roof, and you're able to take modules on, take modules off. Every single time you make an update in the platform, that's being recorded by Ellie, and she's putting together a full design. So you can see I'm at a 5.5 kW system. Homeowner says, that's exactly what I like. I love that design on there. Made the updates. Let me come back. Now you take control on the finance side, guys. So based on zip code, we're adding every single week, we're adding new finance into the platform. So right now I'm at a cash deal. You can see, let's go ahead in. I'm hitting the cash. There we go. So let's look at finance based on the zip code, this California zip code. Okay, so I'm going to hit finance on here. I go in. Let's move with the loan product. Based on this zip code, we've got 5 different options, including the #1 in the nation. We just added LoanPal into our platform. We also have Inium. It's another finance solution. You guys take full control with the homeowner of what finance is going to make the most sense for them. So when you go in, let's go ahead and click LoanPal. They've got a 20-year at 2.99%. Guys, we've driven down the cost of solar so much over the past few years. Homeowners that saw a plan a few years ago, it's completely different economics today. All right, so now I've entered that in. I've chosen the finance. Now I can scroll down to the bottom. This is where you guys take control on your commission. So let's say it's a family member, one of your friends. You may not want to update the commission, but when you go in there, you're able to now decide how much you want to make on this project. You can go in low, or let's say it's pretty marketing campaigns. You want to make this a main part of your line card. I say a lot of you guys are with very expensive electricity. You can definitely mark up. You can see this one site. We're adding a $500 commission there. You guys have complete control. That gets added into the writing, and you see all that information is picked into the platform. Now we're going to go and show you guys the proposal events. So when I generate proposals on the top right-hand side, the homeowner now has a complete proposal put together, guys. And I just talked to you. It took us months or years to learn in the solar industry. And so we made it very simple. All of the key information about the site, the investment tax credit, all of that's baked into the platform. You could see we use tier 1 equipment, all of the contract terms, warranty, all of the key information, the environmental benefits, the appraised value of the home. We've baked it all in on that design you did. And most importantly, then you guys can get a signed DocuSign agreement right in the platform. And so you guys can do in minutes what used to take us so much time in the solar industry. It drives down costs. And this is how we're going to build a generation of solar with you guys. So appreciate your guys' time today.
Thanks so much, Jason. And, there was some issues with the choppiness. So I want to make a request, which I think will really help everyone on the call that couldn't hear a lot of it. Do you have a canned demo that we can send out to them?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that. Let's send that out to them so that they can kind of get that 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure they didn't miss anything important. Because again, the visual aid was awesome. And I know people are fired up and I love it. But you know how it is. This is the new time, right? The bandwidth stuff. Anyway, really appreciate everyone's time. So, I know we're at the top of the hour, but we do want to open it up for questions at this time. We understand if people can't wait, can't hang out, but again, we're happy to field questions at this moment. So, and
there are a few questions in the chat if we wanted to go there real quick.
Yeah, I don't see any new ones, but if you
could we get all of.
Let me
One
just
did come in for Jason, just to explain how the marketplace, the Clean.Tech marketplace beats the competition as far as pricing is concerned.
Yeah, let me just quickly mention what's on the screen and then we can do that. How's that? So you can see here on the screen, it's all about the bills, right? We recommend that you change your pitch. You literally change your pitch from, I'm a telecom cloud agent or whatever you say now to, I'm now a utility agent to help more customers with the serious energy needs that are out there today. And there's a golden opportunity here. And then changing from get the bills or can you send me a copy of your bill, expand that to, can you give me a copy of your utility bills? And again, it could be electricity, gas, water, and waste, right? Those are the 4 main bills. But as you see here on the screen, if you're talking about procurement, going back to the beginning of the call, procurement, electricity, natural gas, always get the gas bill because you saw it's ubiquitous, almost ubiquitous coverage on gas. And get the electricity bill as well if you're in a state that allows for that, right? We just want to create realistic expectations about the geography. For efficiency, though, get the electricity bill every time. The electricity bill is going to really help all of the guys on this call and their companies to bring solutions to the table and help you with this process. So again, get the electricity bill if you've got an efficiency opportunity. As Patrick would say, get both. And I would agree, get both whenever you can. We just want to be clear about what we can do and the scope of it. So, and then you just scan and email those to energy@AppSmart and we'll do a proposal for you. So with that, let me open it up. There is one question on there. It is, can we sell consumer solar today? The answer is yes. And that's actually where they've come from, right? But as I alluded to earlier in the call, commercial solar is really growing. And I know Clean.Tech is in a dev cycle right now to add commercial solar to what they're doing. So just to be real clear, we can do residential solar today. We don't want to focus on it. It's probably good for you to get under the hood and experience what it's like, right? So I would suggest if you've got friends or yourself, that kind of thing. And then it says, do we have competitive matrices against competitors that are known in the industry like Tesla, Solar City? Jason, can you speak to that last question?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And like I showed, you guys are in control of the commission. And so if you are going up against a competitive quote, we give you what's called a baseline, a red line number, and you guys mark it up. So if you can see the Tesla quote or a Sunrun quote, you absolutely can compete against that. You guys are in control of the gross contract amount that you're able to present to that homeowner.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, other questions out there? We're all ears. And again, you can just submit those through chat. Here comes another one. Can you tell us more about the affiliate link on the website?
Yeah, so that's a full access version of the platform that I just showed you. So if you go to that link that Sawa posted, you're able to sign up for a full access version of the platform that you can register right there. We've got a very robust and growing help center and very simple getting started guides then as well. Like I said, it literally, if you're pretty decent on the phone, it's going to take you 10 minutes to start learning the platform. We made it very simple.
Awesome. Okay, other questions? I guess that's a related question. What is the affiliate link for, to get out to folks in the public in marketing?
Yeah, we're a private permission network. So the only way you could join our platform is through that affiliate link. And so that is the AppSmart affiliate link. And you are getting access from AppSmart, and it's a branded AppSmart instance of the platform.
There's one more question. Why don't we just take that offline, that last question? Let's give it to Terrence to answer, because we are over right now. So I want to thank everyone for joining today. Super excited. Again, maybe shift over to I am now utility advisor, right? And then maybe shift your question about the bills over to all the bills, right? It's just a quick pivot of the motion you're already going through. But I can tell you right now, I mean, we literally closed almost $1 million in contract value in one day a couple of weeks ago in energy. So I'm just want to give you guys the scope of this. And yes, it can be tough to get to a customer right now, but once you get to them, I think they're going to be listening to you. And if they understand how simple it is, that's part of the key of the whole thing. Anyway, once again, thanks everyone for your time. I want to once again thanks Terrence, Ed, and Jason, as well as Patrick and the whole AppSmart team for a great call. Thanks everyone, and we will see you out there to gain more energy.